at the Japanese Grand Prix, facing at the front in front of their home crowd who battled it. And he had a fantastic couple of results last time out. That was the number 7 of Ramadipa. Running the Indonesian was all okay, but it was all about this trio at the front: Mitani, Ojiwara and Ikegami on the number 14 machine. This was race 2 on Sunday morning. Ikegami taking the lead, means himself back into the lead. A popular passing manoeuvre, but Ikegami slowly but surely clawed his way back, picked off Ojiwara, and then got a decent dose for the rookie in Japan. So that's how it unfolded then on Sunday in Japan a couple of weeks ago. As I said, we went to Australia alongside MotoGP for the Australian GP without the Mitsubishi Talent Cup in action. So a couple of weeks off to enjoy what we saw in Japan, reminisce for the riders, of course, to think about what went wrong, what went right, of course. And as we land in top, Zen Matami had a very slight match point in Japan, but it would have taken a miracle back at Mitani's home race for him to win the title there. But it's a little bit easier this time around him. Of Rishi Takahira, his compatriot, in second place. Ojiwara is in third place, a double podium finisher last time out, 80 points back. And if Zen Matani finishes Asia Talent Cup champion, 5th heading into race 2, but if he doesn't win it in race 1, then race 2 becomes a whole lot easier for him to win the title. But we will wait and see, of course. Exciting action coming up. Elliot York, myself, is joined by Connor Doherty. Connor, it's been a fascinating year, hasn't it, in 2024 in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and it all comes down to the last 4 races of the season. The question is, though, can anyone stop Mitani from claiming the crown?
Yeah, absolutely. A pleasure to be here with you, Elliot. And that is the question. Zen Matani has been absolutely sensational. But all of these riders have been so good this year, showing off their talent in the Asia Talent Cup, and I am thrilled to be here.
He's one of 2 riders, well, one of 3 really, but realistically we're looking at one of 2 riders in this race. Ojiwara, but as we just saw then, Zen Matani will go from the middle of the front. Matani, and he was in the podium fight last time we came to Thailand in 2023 too, so he didn't quite. Can Ojiwara potentially spoil the party, put the, not champagne because they're not old enough to drink champagne yet, but put the sparkling water on ice for another night for Zen Matani and his crew. Under his belt, a 2nd win of the season, especially at this stage of the season, to try and halt Matani's charge. The rider, Japanese 1-2-3 in qualifying earlier on today. The first front row since Malaysia for Rishi Takahira, the rider 2nd in the championship. 71 points down on Mitani, and Takahira got that lap in right at the end of the session. He was lingering down in P9, P10 here after a disappointing Japanese GP. Not enough at this stage of the season for Takahira to try and beat Mitani to the crown. Only 1 podium in the last 5 for Takahira. So that's time to change if your name is Takahira on the number 9 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen this kind of burgeoning rivalry between him and Mitani. Asian Talent.
Can Takahira do then? It's a fascinating front 3. The top 3 in the championship, starting from P1, P2 and P3 here in Thailand for race 1 and 2, albeit in a different order. Spearheading row 2 is Kianja Ramadipa on the 7 machine. As we saw last time out, a strange incident in race 2. Got his boot stuck in the rear wheel. Thankfully, it was all okay. A pretty nasty looking incident, but Ramadipa was able to continue. But it's 4 races now. So looking back to somewhat of his best here in 2024. It's his season and race 2 of this season. So yeah, Ramadipa will be looking to, but he needs to stand back on the podium and just rekindle that energy, that form we saw in the opening half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a rider that's often threatening those at the front, but as you say, he needs to take another step forward and try and break into that top 5.
Certainly so. And speaking of top 5, best qualifying since Malaysia is the lead home hero on the grid, Kiatsak Singapong on the number 20. Thailand had a race winner here last year. Can Singapong do the same in front of his home crowd? He will be certainly hoping so. He's the rider highest in the standings without a podium so far, is Kiatsak Singapong. Relatively inexperienced, of course, but he'll be absolutely hoping, of course, to stand on the podium for the first time. No better place to do it than here at the Chang International Circuit. 4 P5s in 2024. He'll be hoping to change that. Top 5 will be a good result nonetheless, but Singapong really hoping for a podium. And Malaysia, earlier on in the season, but he hasn't had a podium in the last 3 as half-five. So here is another rider who'll be desperate to climb back up onto the podium in race 1.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's shown his prowess over the course of practice and qualifying here. He was the fastest in FP1 with a 147.782, and if he can repeat that kind of performance...
Yeah, the number 9 Tony has been in the lead group throughout this season, hasn't quite managed to win a race in 2024, but he's been there or thereabouts throughout the season. 1 minute to go then before we head on to the warm-up lap for these Indonesia Asia Talent Cup riders. And Connor, here is your starting grid.
Yeah, absolutely. On row 1, Ogiwara, Mitani and Takehira, all 3 of them Japanese. On row 2, Ramadipa, Singapong and Hafi. On row 3, Dakigan, Bonprawat and Henry. Behind them, on row 4, we have Ikegami, Schmidt and Chavan. Row 5, Tanachot, Takemoto and Russo. Row 6, Pramuntong, Zakwan and Vishwanath. Nakib.
There is your starting grid then for race 1 here in Thailand. Tensions build. Are we going to see the 2024 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup champion crowned here this afternoon in 15 laps time? The warm-up lap is now underway. I'm sure Zen Mitani on the number 2. He's a very cool, calm and collected character, but even the most of cool characters will be getting pretty nervous now. Speaking to a few guys down there, some of our colleagues, and he's saying he's been a little bit more quiet than usual this weekend, and understandably so, of course. A matter of if, not when, Connor. But the riders such as Takehira and Ojiwara are going to make sure that it's going to be prolonged for as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to be capable of dealing with the pressure that is being put upon him now. The riders around him are not going to make it easy for him, but if he can live up to his name, Zen Mitani, and keep calm, keep collected, and get the job done, well, he's got an opportunity here.
He certainly has. Rishi Takehira on the number 9 machine as they come up the second of the back straights. Long straights, the kilometre-long run down into turn 3, through the kink at turn 2. Plenty of passing manoeuvres here at the Chang International Circuit. 4.5 kilometres in layout, and a beautiful ribbon of tarmac, as we said, one of the favourites on the calendar, and it all builds up to that turn 12. Come down to that in these 2 races as well. Coming up, look out for Seiru Ikegami. He's out of position in terms of the championship and the speed as the rookie, and his first visit to from Ikegami. Do watch out for the number 14, because he's been a threat throughout. Won for the first time last time out in Japan, of course. There he is on the number 14. If he gets a good start and gets into the pull up to the starting grid, as I say, 15 laps coming up around this Buriram International Circuit as Zen Mitani pulls up to the middle of the front row. But here is your pole sitter on the number 16, Ryota Ojiwara. Missed out on a win in both races last time out. Finished a very close second and a very close third. He'll be hoping that it's P1 this time around. Here we go then, tensions rise, the lights are on, and we are underway for race 1 here in Thailand, and it's a great start from pole position from the number 16 of Ojiwara. Mitani got a good launch from the middle of the front row as well. He slots into so far, and now it's all about trying to get into the slipstream. Ojiwara has a good advantage, but Mitani's closing in quickly as we go through the kink of turn 2, down into turn 3 for the first time. Is Mitani going to try and take the lead for the first time? Yes, he is. Takehira is there too, but Mitani late on the brakes, as we've seen so often in 24. The number 2 leads. The championship leader is at the front.
Well, Zen Mitani did not leave it long before he made that move. Absolutely sensational. Of any opportunity you give him, he's done just that at the first corner.
He absolutely has. A great start from Mitani. Got a good launch into turn 1 and then made the slipstream count. So he starts through turn 5 and 6 we go. The left-handers, then you flick it right through turn 7. Ojiwara showing a wheel up the inside. A difficult place to pass, but as we saw from the sprint, it's possible to pass through there though. But what they've got to do now, as Ojiwara is doing, is lock themselves onto the rear wheel of Mitani. They don't want to let the number 2 get into his rhythm nice and early and settle down and start to pull away in this race, as Ojiwara then climbs all over the rear wheel of his compatriot Zen Mitani. And this is turn 12, the run into turn 12, fast kink through 11, get a slingshot into 12. Mitani up the inside, letting Mitani go, but on lap 1 it is the number 2, the championship leader of Zen Mitani, who leads the way. Yeah,
absolutely incredible from Mitani, but Ojiwara is doing exactly what he needs to be doing, keeping the pressure on Mitani. He's getting as close as he can to that back wheel, making sure that Mitani knows he's there, and he's going to take advantage of any opportunity that he can to try and fight his way back through to P1.
Certainly is, and is this the opportunity that he's been looking for? That's turn 2, not really a turn, but it is technically called turn 2. Ojiwara hanging it around the outside, contact there down at turn 3 then, between two of your top 3 in the title chase. It's going to be Mitani who holds the inside line, Ojiwara hanging it around the outside, but a little bit of argy-bargy so far. Ojiwara getting a little bit elbow back. Just calm down a little bit, boys, it's only lap 2. As Takahiro then fancies a bit of slipstream as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and just look at what Ikegami's done this battle for the podium.
Yeah, Ikegami then, as I said, watch out for the number 14. He was out of position in terms of pace throughout this season from 10th on the grid, and he's up to P1 already on lap 2, so fantastic stuff from Ikegami, and in a blink of an eye, Mitami's gone from P1 down to P5, I think it is now. Ojiwara just ahead of him on track, so the slipstream really coming into effect here in the Asia Talent Cup. Down the kilometre, back straight, up, back, the 700 to 800 metre straight into the infield section, and already we've got a lead group of 8-9 riders all in the battle here early. But as we've seen so often this season, it's going to change lap by lap, corner by corner. Rambanita thought about it up the inside, Mitani thinks about it and gets the job done up the inside at turn 12 on the number 96. He's going to get quicker than that though. Here we go then, down the back straight through turn 1. And already he's lost the lead as Ikegami. This is exactly what we were expecting. Down the kilometre long back straight. Ramadipa then holding the inside line, but it's about 6-7 abreast there. Takahiro late on the brakes up the inside of Ojiwara on the 16. Half fire around the inside. Mitani's getting hung out to dry a little bit. Through turn 3 we go. And that's Singapong on the number 20 running wide. Did he get pushed out wide? That's going to be important for potential track limits. All of these riders racing really, really hard. That's number 22 of Dakigang at the back of this group, the small group that are just breaking. Half-eye though, up the inside, down at turn 5. A couple of laps already. It's half-eye from Mamadi from Mikagami. That's Singapong on the number 20 diving up the inside. The number 26 runs wide as well. So, keep cool. His rivals aren't in the top sort of 5 or 6 at this moment in time. We're going to get live championship standings towards the end of the race as well. So you guys at home, as well as us in the commentary box, can keep track if Mitani is going to win the championship. As things stand, though, we won't concentrate on that now. 12 and 1 corner laps to go. Half-eye then into turn 12 for the 3rd time. He will lead on to lap 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's taking the lead already, and we've still got 12 laps.
Just to keep you up to date then on Mitani, if he wins, no matter what happens behind him, he will be crowned champion. If he's second and Takahiro doesn't win, he'll be champion as well. And by my calculations, if he is third and Takahiro or Ojiwara don't win, he will be crowned champion as well. But we will, of course, try and keep you up to date as things happen. And as you can see, as things are happening, it's getting very, very busy down there already. Ojiwara then takes the lead, but for how long for? Squeezes half-eye onto the white strip of paint on the outside of the track. It's about 3-4 abreast into the ferociously quick turn 4. What a corner that is on this circuit. Pretty much full chat on these Honda 250 machines as Matop be crowned champion due to the fact that he has a superior number of race wins. 75 points. Ojiwara could level if he won the last 5 races. But Mitani then will perhaps in a very, very good position, but a long way to go, of course, and we've seen it's getting very busy out there, chopping and changing all the time. Mitani's just got to keep a cool head, keep calm, and then we'll see how it plays out. But Mitani then has climbed back up into P2, so he's done well, but Ojiwara is leading.
Yeah, but Mitani is going to be crawling all over that back wheel as he chases a potential, if he was to win each of the races that remain in this Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup 2024, he would have 9. That's matching Veda Pratamas, who was absolutely sensational last year. And if you're imitating any rider in this competition, well, he's one to do.
Absolutely, Veda Pratama, last year's winner. A fantastic season from the Indonesian, who's going well, of course, in the Red Bull Rookies Cup and in the Junior GP classes. A good advert for the Asia Talent Cup. We can, safe to say, see Mitani going well in the next few years across the road to MotoGP, but With 11 laps to go then, Ojiwara has hit the front and the hammer is being put down slightly. Here's a nice slow-mo replay of the riders hard on the anchors into turn 12. This is Matani clicking it down the gearbox into turn 12. The right-hander, one of the slowest corners on the circuit, if not the slowest. And then it's all about picking the bike up, find it out of the apex. A short run to the line, of course, so if you get a bad run out of that final corner, it's across the line in first place. So the two Japanese riders then, Ojiwara and Matani, your top two on the grid, are just threatening to pull clear here. Ikigami in third place, Takahiro on the number 9. Watch out for Takahiro, of course. Remember, he is second in the overall standings to Matani. Half-eye runs slightly wide, so important part of the race here then needs to do the same, because it's going to be interesting to see what lap times they set on this lap, the top two, as Matani threatens to overtake Ojiwara up the inside, thinks better of it this time around. Nicely around the outside, Dakigan unfortunately loses a bit of time there, and he's now got Singapong on his right hand side. So what was that lap time? Both Ojiwara and Matani into the 146s, a good 4 tenths quicker than anyone else on circuit, apart from Mamadipa, who's also in the 146s. So tough times ahead for Takahiro, he needs to get his head down.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to do it, though, with the pace that Ogiwara and Mitani are setting at the moment. Of course, Ogiwara does know what it is to win in this competition this year. He won back in round 3 in Indonesia in race 2. And he's got a real taste for it, as we're seeing here. And he's going to be desperate to get back on the top step of the podium, despite the fact that he's got Mitani crawling over.
Turn 3, I think it was Takahiro who ran wide too. So we're going to keep an eye on track limits, of course. Singapong then on the 20. Shows a wheel up the inside of Hafai, the Malaysian. 9.5 laps. Matani, though, just knows he can just sit there, sit behind Ojiwara and help both of them clear the chasing pack behind him. And all this argy-barging behind is only helping them. It's up to a second now between Matani and Singapong. And it's only growing. Another 10.5 gained in that last sector. It's going to be interesting again to see what lap time they do over the line. But these two, after a complicated opening few laps with everyone trying to jostle for position, now look like they're setting the pace, and it's going to be difficult for the riders behind to try and cling on with 9 laps to go as they cross the line again. Ojiwara from Mitani, from Singapong, from Hafai, from Takahiro, your top 5 as Singapong then sets the fastest lap of the race. A great lap from Singapong, 146.2. That's a good half a second quicker. What am I talking about? The riders behind have got superb rhythm. Keep that up, he'll be with them in another lap or two. So this is great stuff from the number 20 Thai rider.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've said it there, the Thai rider wants to do it in front of the home fans. I don't know whether that's an advantage or not, being in front of the home fans, the additional pressure that will add, but it looks like it's not affecting Singapong, and he's up to 3rd now as he chases these two.
He just loses another position then there to Hafai. Hafai incidentally set at 147.1, so Singapong was nearly a second quicker than Hafai on that lap time. As Takahiro and Singapong dive back past Hafai into turn 4. Takahiro doing well to cling on to Singapong here. And this is exactly what they've got to do. They've just got to box clever here of the chasers. As things stand, if the checkered flag was to wave now, Mitani would be crowned the 2024 champion, but 8.5 laps to go, a long way to go. And if Singapong keeps that pace up, and looks like he is doing as well, now he's got back to the front, re-overtaking Hafai into 3rd place, and Singapong really has the hammer down here. Visually, you can see there on your screen, he is closing the gap. It's going to be interesting to see what it is over the line as we near another lap completed. Ojiwara leading the way from Mitani. Mitani just sitting there patiently doing exactly what he has to do. But look at Singapong on number 20. This is potentially going to be another fastest lap of the race. That's probably only about half a second, even less potentially, as it gets a little bit too close for comfort in the background down into turn 12. Another lap completed then. What is the gap over the line of 46.7 for Takahiro, 46.5 for Singapong, and the top 2 were back into the 147. So another 6, sort of half a second, 6 tenths quicker was the number 20. Race on.
Yeah, absolutely, race on. Singapong is chasing down these two, and we can see it, as you say, on our screens as he edges his way metre by metre into this fight. And prior to the race, Elliot, I would have said that all of these potential contenders would have needed to band together to try and figure out a way to try and stop Mitani together in any way possible. But it looks like Ojiwara didn't get the memo, and now Singapong's really putting his foot down and making sure that he's involved as well.
He certainly is. He's right with them. A fantastic couple of laps then from the number 20, Singapong. He doesn't care about the championship standings. He just wants to win on home turf, and winning is potentially what he's going to do. He takes the race lead for the first time. Does Singapong, overtakes Matani through turn 4, and now it's a lead group of 5 because Takira's dragged Hafai with him as the top 2 threaten Takira, important for the championship, of course. So what can Singapong do now that he's got to the lead of this race? Is he going to just get the hammer down and try and clear off into the distance? He's got fantastic pace time from the number 20 in front of his home crowd. A long way to go, but he has victory in sight.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's showing just how much of a precocious talent he is, because it's one thing to get ahead, to reel in those 2 leaders, and now he's got an entirely different kind of task, which is going to be very difficult for him when he's got Mitani behind him. But
Juari's compatriot on the number 16 got it out of shape coming out of turn 12, and he's lost ground. He's now back behind the number 19 of Hafai. So another lap completed, then 7 to go here in Thailand, and it's a Thai rider at the front. Singapong from Ojiwara, from Mitani, from Hafai, from Takira. Your top 5 locked together as Mitani pulls out of the slipstream on Ojiwara, but Ojiwara is getting a nice handful of slipstream himself down into turn 3, but thinks better of it this time around in terms of making a move. All eyes then on Mitani, Ojiwara and Takira, all the Thai eyes. The home fans will be cheering on the number 20 if they're in this group. Mitani then into the slipstream, 3 abreast we go through turn 4. Singapong's just going to lose out there, unfortunately, for the home fans and Singapong, but he gets a great run through turn 4. Thinks better of it though into turn 5. So Mitani then back into the lead of this race with 6.5 to go.
yeah, Mitani did exactly what we expected from him. He took advantage of an opportunity that was presented to him, and now he's leading again. And that's not what the riders around him would have wanted. And he's such a consistent performer, especially this year. And we know what it would mean to him to get on the podium after he missed out so narrowly in both races last year in the 2023 edition of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup.
Certainly, so Kanda at turn 10 before you flick it right through 11. Get a slingshot, beat Mitani, the number 2 on the brakes. No one beat him that time around. 6 laps to go. Mitani has found himself back into the lead, and remember, if he wins, no matter what happens behind him, he will be crowned champion, but there's a long way to go. 5 riders all in this lead group fighting for victory. Ramadeepa is in P7, 1.3 seconds, P6 on the number 7 machine, 1.3 seconds adrift, so don't count Ramadeepa out just yet either. This is a slow-mo again down into turn 12. I've got a feeling this is what it's all going to come down to. Who's going to be last of the late breakers into the final corner, and who's going to potentially win for the first time, win the title, win again in the Asia Talent Cup, win for the first time in 2024. Lots of narratives here in the final 5.5 laps to go. Into the bubble they go, tucked behind the screen, try and get as good run as possible, sweeping across the track. Takira goes on the number 9 machine. Ojiwara then into the race lead again. Takira though, a fantastic run. Ojiwara though does run wide. He's got to watch out for that. There's Ojiwara, as Mitani says, thank you very much, I'll sweep on through. So your top 3 in the championship again then, are your top 3 in this race. Takira now leads for the first time in a while, potentially for the first time in the race on the number 9 machine, so fantastic with 5 and just a bit more laps to go. Fantastic stuff for the Japanese rider, doing exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, he was very much biding his time. He hadn't been in the lead before, but now he is on course. If he can hold this position, which, as we've seen, is no easy task, it's been chopping and it's been changing, but he could get that so elusive win, and the Japanese rider will be absolutely desperate to get on the top. He's been on the podium 4 times, but it's so difficult, as we've just seen there.
Yeah, exactly that. It's going to be incredibly difficult for anyone to keep this race lead going into the final 5 laps of the race. Just to the bottom of your screens there, one of the wildcard riders, Bumprop, to complete that before the end of the race, or he'll get a time penalty etched to his name at the end of the race. Here is your live championship standings then. It's going to change all the time, corner by corner in the last 5 laps so far. It is Mitani taking a 76-point lead into race 2, and that'll be enough, but it's not a 76-point lead anymore. That can change immediately as Takira dives up the inside into turn 3, the long right-hander, the slow right-hander before you get it pinpointed out of that corner, and squirt your machine right back up into turn 4, the long crawl back up towards the huge grandstand that we're sat in here, that has been packed full of fans all weekend long, and the fans that have stuck around are all cheering for that man, the number 20, as Singapong dives at the inside at turn 4 and leads again. So in a matter of a few corners, Mitani's gone from race leader to P5 in this battle as the top two in the championship there in P4 and P5 at turn 5, battle away, fantastic stuff. Singapore again though, the race leader, the Thai rider.
Yeah, the Thai audience here in the stands are being treated to an absolute feast of racing here. It's been sensational from start to finish. This leading group has been so leading the pack.
We certainly do. Just over 4 laps to go. Singapore is leading the way. 6th place in the overall standings, as I said a few moments ago. He's the lead rider in the championship, still without a podium, and there's no better place to stand on the podium than your home race as Ojiwara demotes the number 20 to P2. 4 laps to go. It's getting towards crunch time here in race 1 in Thailand. Singapore's going to respond straight away up the inside, or is he? Ojiwara very, very strong on the brakes around the outside, hangs it around the outside at turn 1. Is it going to compromise his exit slightly? Not sure it is, but Singapore's going to grab a healthy dose of slipstream down through turn 2 into turn 3. Mitani and Sakira battling away too in this fight. Hafai on the number 19 sitting there patiently so far. There's Takira up the inside of Mitani. That's a battle that's raised for the last lap or so in P4 and P5. The top two in the championship know exactly what they need to do. Takira doing what he needs to do. He needs to beat Mitani at least to have any chance of it going the way in race. Mitani, fantastic stuff through turn 4. Grabs a load of slipstream, dives at the inside through turn 4 into turn 5. So I was going to say, as things stood, Mitani wouldn't be taking the crown, but ignore that. A couple of seconds later, it all changes. Mitani, as things stand with Takira now in 2nd place, will be crowned champion in 3.5 laps time. But then he won't, because Takira takes the lead again. This is changing lap by lap, corner by corner. Fantastic stuff in the Asia Talent Cup. Takira gets it a little bit out of shape, coming through turn 8 into turn 9. Then they flick it left through turn 10. Then again right into turn 11 and all down to turn 12. It's going to change here, I reckon, as well, Connor.
Yeah, it's chopping, it's changing. We've got the live championship graphic there on your screens, and we see it changing like an elaborate game of Tetris. One moment Mitani's winning, one moment he's not. The
last 3 laps then here in race 1, as we expect to look out for the number 7 as well. Of course, Ramadipa, the Indonesian, is coming. Is only 6/10 off the down into turn 3. Is he getting us a little bit too close of a comfort there on the run down into turn 3? But is Mitani going to hold the lead into turn 3? No, not quite. Ojiwara up through turn 4. Oh, we don't know how to call this one. Takira then into the slipstream, Singapore into the slipstream, Hafai, and look at that. Ramadipa gets a load of slipstream down into turn 3, gets a little bit more into turn 4, and look at that from Ramadipa. He was P6 3 corners ago, and now he's up to 3rd, and he's thinking about potentially winning this race. The Indonesian on the number 7 machine, fantastic stuff to get himself involved in this fight. Now he fancies a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Time. I think the riders ahead of him are going to be very much concerned, because this is a rider that wants to be standing on the podium come the end of this race with just 2.5 laps to go.
2.5 to go. Mitani is leading the way from Ojiwara as things stand. The live championship on the bottom right hand of your screen. 85 points will be plenty enough for Mitani to claim the crown in race 1, but there's a long way to go. 2 laps to go, just over. What can Takira do on the number 9 machine to try and respond? Ojiwara placed himself well there in P2, but they've got to try and get ahead of Mitani. Got to try and disrupt the number 2's rhythm in the last couple of laps to have any hope of claiming the crown themselves. 2 laps to go, Mitani leads.
2 laps to go, exactly right. As you say, it's going to be so tough for any of these riders to try and get ahead of Mitani. He's proven just how brilliant he is all throughout this season, all throughout last season, and he's made such progress as well, really showing how much this class is bearing fruit. But can someone get ahead? No, it's still Mitani.
Mitani then just about holds on to the race lead down into turn 3, but I'm not a betting man, but I don't think he's going to hold the lead into turn 4. I'll be very surprised. The number 20 of Singamon pulls out of the slipstream, so does the number 7 of Ramadipa. Ojiwara up the inside on the 16. He's going to take 3 in 1. Ojiwara then through turn 4 he goes into the race lead on the number 16 machine, and the championship changes once again. 71 points it was. It's going to grow a little bit more than that, but Ojiwara then doing all he can so far with 1.5 laps to go. The number 16 is in the race lead. Mitani P3, Singapore P4, Ramadipa in P2. Where is Takira? He's P5. He's not really challenging at this moment in time, but he's right there.
Oh, absolutely sensational stuff. I think that the person responsible for the TV graphics can just leave that live championship up, because this is chopping, this is changing, this is absolutely sensational. Ojiwara at the moment leading, Mitani behind him, and this is just incredible. Elliot, I don't want it to finish.
Neither do I, but it's going to in a lap and one more corner. Here we go then for the penultimate time into turn 12. Ramadipa gets a little bit out of shape there into the final corner on the number 7 machine, but it is last lap time here in Thailand race 1. Ojiwara leads from Mitani, the potential champion-elect. Ramadipa P3 on the number 7 machine. Takira second in the championship. Before this race, he has a mountain to climb. Heading on to this final lap. Through turn 1 we go. 2 into turn 3. Is he going to make a move into turn 3? He's going to think about it. He's been late on the brakes all season long. Fantastic on the brakes. The number 2 machine. He looks at the inside and he makes a clean pass. So Mitani then it's going to all come down to...
And this is just absolutely incredible. Everyone's doing everything they can to try and get ahead of Mitani. And
wow,
that's exactly what we're seeing happening.
Yeah, Mitani's gone from P1 to P6 in one corner. Takira now leads. The rider who came into this second in the championship, and it's gone from about of it. Looked out of the podium equation a lap ago, but the number 9 machine is leading into turn 9. Turn 10, 11 and 12 to come. They flick it left through 10. Then right to go on. And Mitani in Thailand, a drum out of that. All okay. That was a little bit too sketchy down there into turn 12. But it is the Indonesian Ramadipa.
The chopping, it was changing what it means to Ramadipa to win. Friends off the track as well. Absolutely won. Race 2.
As I say, it got potentially a little bit too scary down there into turn 12. We don't like to see riders having to run onto the grass, but it was incredibly close racing from all of them. And as I say, glad to see they all came through that all okay. I hope we get a replay of that down into turn 12. But Takira then goes from P5 potentially coming on to the turn 4. Mitani to P5. And P5 is exactly where the number 2 finished. The first time this season, would you believe, Mitani has finished off the podium. And if you remember back to last year in 2023, race 1 in Thailand, it was the first time as well when Pratama finished off the podium for the first time. And come back even stronger tomorrow morning, you can be sure. But what a race. 9 thousandths of a second splitting Ramadipa into Sakir. On the brakes, a little bit out of shape up the inside, and this is it. This is into turn 12. Ojiwara going defensive. No, this isn't the last lap. They weren't on time. And Takira going defensively, of course, which was a photo finish. Ramadi
at the end, such an incredible last lap. And for Mitani, well, he'll be very frustrated. Thailand definitely is not his favourite place to. Thailand definitely is not his favourite place to come racing.
No, certainly not. As I said, the first time this season, I mean, this is credit to Mitani, of course. First time this season he's been off the podium, the win, and to finish P6. Stuck around, and there was plenty of the self perfectly to great racing, great people here. The whole circuit.
Mentioning that here we are thumping through. Mentioning that here we are thumping through you.
Yeah, Kennedy. And for Mitani.
Here we are thumping through you.
Yeah, Kennedy.
Through you.
Yeah, Kennedy. And for Mitani, but will he get his revenge? And for Mitani, but will he get his revenge? Tomorrow, upon the Thai rider just misses out in P4. Mitani, still your championship leader, of course, but the deficit has been cut somewhat. Ahead of race 2. He finishes P5, Hafire close, P6. Dakigan time with Archie Schmidt down in P10, all under 4 seconds away from the race victory. A great race from all of those. Inside the top 10. Takamoto, the Japanese rider, the rookie, finishes just over 4 seconds. So a fascinating battle that went on in the lower ends of the top 10. Between those riders. Tanashot, the Thai rider, finished in P12. Chavan, the wildcard rider, Bumprawet, after his long lap penalty, finished in P14 with Levi Russo completing the points in P15. And this is how your Riders' Championship looks then heading into race 2. Mitani needs a 50-point lead, leaving Thailand, heading into the final 2 races in Malaysia next weekend to be crowned the 2024 champion. And with 62 points in hand, it looks a little bit easier than it did in race 1. But as we've seen, anything can happen. It's not done until it's absolutely over here in the Asia Talent Cup. So a fascinating battle awaits us to kickstart Super Sunday here at the Thai Grand Prix. Takira is the rider in second place in the standings. Ramadipa and Ojiwara incidentally now level on points on 121. So it's going to be all eyes on Batani and Takira. 107 points, in the overall standings. So your top three then have hopped into the golf carts across the other side of the circuit in front of this magnificent grandstand here at the Chang International Circuit, and will stand on the podium for the first time this weekend. They'll be out to potentially make it to tomorrow morning. Ojiwara stands on the podium once more. Ojiwara, that's 4 podiums in a row now, another P3 to his name. Pick strengthens his title charge ahead of tomorrow's decisive race before we head to Malaysia for the final round of the season. Can Takira and the others? So it's going to be a fascinating watch though tomorrow. Matani still in a commanding position as we celebrate the race winner, Ramadipa, the Indonesian rider, wins for the first time since Qatar race 2. He's gone a few races without victory. He's not had a podium in the last 4. But Ramadipa, with similar sunglasses, I've got to say, that Veda Pratama wore last season, of course, his compatriot from Indonesia. It might be the same sunglasses, I'm not quite sure. Funky enough anyway. I think you could pull them off, Connor. Not sure I could, but yeah, fantastic to see Ramadipa wearing some funky sunglasses on the podium. And we are going to listen to the Indonesian national anthem in just a few moments' time. At Ramadipa having as the riders celebrate their podium in race 1, and that builds us up very, very nicely indeed for race 2 tomorrow morning, 9:45 local time. Do not miss it. Here is the highlights. I don't envy the guys back in the truck to make the highlights reel out of this one, but they've done a fantastic job of it. Lights out and away we went, and it was Ojiwara from pole taking the lead into turn 1, but Matani didn't wait long for him to take the lead as he eyed championship glory in Thailand. Iklan from P10, the rookie, as the lead changed pretty much corner by corner, especially through turn 1 to final corner. Several riders running onto the grass. Ojiwara, Matani and Hafai onto the green stuff. Hafai up the inside there. Chaos at the final corner, and coming out of it was Ramadipa to win for the first time since Qatar earlier on this season. What a race we've just witnessed. Will the title be won tomorrow morning here in Thailand? Matani has his eyes set on the crown, but will he clinch it? We'll see you tomorrow to find out. At the Japanese Grand Prix, a fantastic couple of races as it has been all year long in 2024, and it was 3 Japanese riders racing at the front in front of their home crowds who battled it out for victory. Zen Matani comes into this weekend as the championship leader, and he had a fantastic couple of results last time out. That was the number 7 of Ramadipa running up and out in the second race. He got his boot stuck in his rear wheel. Thankfully, the Indonesian was all okay, but it was all about this trio at the front. Matani, Ojiwara and Ikegami on the number 14 machine. This was race 2 on Sunday morning. Ikegami taking the lead into turn 1, and as it did in race 1, it came down to the last lap. That was Ikegami incidentally running wide down the hill, losing touch on Matani and Ojiwara, but the number 14 didn't take long to bite back and get himself back into the lead group. A popular passing manoeuvre, but Ikagami slowly but surely clawed his way back, picked off Ojiwara, and then got a decent dose of slipstream on the run to the line, and the number 14 just pipped Matani to the race win last time out. A debut win for the rookie in Japan. So that's how it unfolded then on Sunday in Japan a couple of weeks ago. As I said, we went to Australia alongside Moto G. Enjoy what we saw in Japan, reminisce for the riders, of course, to think about what went wrong, what went right, of course. And as we land in Thailand, stop Zen Matami had a very slight match point in Japan, but it would have taken a miracle back at Matani's home race for him to win the title there. But it's a little bit easier this time around in Buriram, the Chang International Circuit. Zen Matani heads into race 1, 70 points ahead of Rishi Takahira, his compatriot, in second place. Ojiwara is in third place, a double podium finisher last time out, 80 points back. And if Zen Matani finishes this race 75 points clear of his nearest rival, he will be crowned the 2024 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup champion. 15 laps coming up. Can Zen Matani claim the crown in race 1 to help him sleep a little bit easier tonight? Coming up, Elliot York, myself, is joined by Connor Doherty. Connor, it's been a fascinating year, hasn't it, in 2024 in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, and it all comes down to the last 4 races of the season. The question is, though, can anyone...
That is the question. Zen Matani has been absolutely sensational, but all of these riders have been so good this year, showing off their talent. In
Ojiwara on pole position then, the Japanese rider on the number 16 machine, third in the championship. As I said, 80 points down on Matane, so he's one of 2 riders, well, one of 3 really, but realistically we're looking at one of 2 riders in this race that can really stop Matani from claiming the crown. Second pole of 2024 for Rowe in second place. 5 wins out of 8 for Zen Matani in 2024. He's been a force to be reckoned with this season. Has quite climbed onto the podium in 2023, but it was in the lead group in both races, crashed in race 2. So Zen Matani does go well around here. So sparkling water on ice for another night for Zen Matani and his crew. We'll wait and see. But Ojiwara, 3 podiums in a row, but you just feel, Connor, that just needs to get a victory under his belt.
Yeah, he does appear to be hitting a run of form. There are 3 podium finishes in the last 3 races, although, Elliot, the order is first, second.
71 points down on Matani, and Takahira got that lap in right at the end of the session. He was lingering down in P9, P10, P11. A lot of the session, Takahira has struggled a little bit through practice and qualifying this weekend, but it's a crucial lap time for Takahira to get onto the front row and be in with a shout of overtaking Matani straight away and try and make Matani's life a little bit more difficult, but for Tak, not enough. So that's time to change if your name is Takahira on the number 9 machine.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen this kind of Burge Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, although the difference then was just 13 points when that came to a conclusion. It's a bit bigger this time around.
It certainly is. And for race 1 and 2, albeit in a different order. Spearheading row 2 is Kianja Ramadeepa on the 7 machine. As we saw last time, Ramadeepa was able to continue, but it's 4 races now without a podium from the Indonesian. Didn't get the results he would have wanted on home turf either. So Ramadeepa looking back to somewhat of his best here in 2024. It's his equal best qualifying position of the year, along with Qatar in race 1 of the season and race 2 of this season. So yeah, Ramadeepa will be looking to, but he needs to stand back on the podium and just rekindle that energy, that form we saw in the opening half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a rider that's often threatening those at the front, but as you say, he needs to take another step forward and try and break into that top 5.
On the grid, Kiatsak Singapong on the number 20. Thailand had a race winner here last year. Can Singapong do the same in front of his home crowd? He will be certainly hoping so. He's the rider highest in the standings without a podium so far, is Kiatsak Singapong. Relatively inexperienced, of course, but he'll be absolutely hoping, of course, to stand on the podium for the first time. No better place to do it than here. Singapong really hoping for a podium, and Faris Hafai completing the second row of the grid on the number 19 machine. First time, incidentally. He's been off the front row since in race 1. Yeah,
absolutely, and he's shown his prowess over the course of practice and qualifying here. He was the fastest in FP1 with a 147.782, and if he can repeat that kind of performance, then he could well be with a chance of threatening the riders ahead of him.
Yeah, the number 9 Tony has been in the lead group throughout this season, hasn't quite managed to win a race in 2024, but he's been there or thereabouts throughout the season. 1 minute to go then before we head on to the warm-up lap for these Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup riders. And Connor, here is your starting grid.
Yeah, absolutely. On row 1, Ogiwara, Mitani and Takehira, all three of them Japanese. On row 2, Ramadipa, Singapong and Hafi. On row 3, Dakigan, Bunprawat and Henry. Behind them, on row 4, we have Ikegami, Schmidt and Chavan. Row 5, Tanachot, Takemoto and Russo. Row 6, Pramuntong, Zakwan and Vishwanath. Nakib.
There is your starting grid then for race 1 here in Thailand. Tensions build. Are we going to see the 2024 Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup champion crowned here this afternoon in 15 laps time? The warm-up lap is now underway. I'm sure Zen Mitani on the number 2. He's a very cool, calm and collected character, but even the most of cool characters will be getting pretty nervous now. Speaking to a few guys down there, some of our colleagues, and he's saying he's been a little bit more quiet than usual this weekend and under command.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs to be capable of dealing with the pressure that is being put upon him now. The riders around him are not going to make it easy for him, but if he can live up to his name, Zen Mitani.
He certainly has. Rishi Takehira on the number 9 machine as they come up the second of the back straights. Long at the Chang International Circuit. 4.5 kilometres in layout. And a beautiful ribbon of tarmac, as we said, one of the favourites on the calendar, and it all builds up to that turn 12, the right-hander. Heavy braking zone. It's come down to that last year in both races, and I feel like it's going to come down to that in these 2 races as well. Coming up, look out for Seiru Ikegami. He's out of position in terms of the championship and the speed we've seen from the young Japanese rider this year. He's started as the rookie on his first visit to Thailand, so 2 from Ikegami. Do watch out for the number 14. Of course, there he is on the number 14. If he gets a good start and gets into the lead group, uses a bit of slipstream, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with then. As the riders pull up to the starting grid, as I say, 15 laps coming up around this bitter. On the number 16, Ryota Ojiwara missed out on a win in both races last time out. Finished a very, very close second, and the lights are on and we are underway for race 1 here in Thailand, and it's a great start from pole position from the number 16 of Ojiwara. Mitani got a good launch from the middle of the front row as well. He slots into a comfortable second. Takehira into third. It's as you were on the front rows. We go through turn 1, all nice and clean so far, and now it's all about trying to get into the slipstream. Ojiwara has a good advantage, but Mitani's closing in quickly as we go through the kink of turn 2 down into turn 3 for the first time. Is Mitani going to try and take the lead for the first time? Yes, he is. Takehira's there too, but Mitani late on the brakes, as we've seen so often in 24. The number 2 leads. The championship leader is at the front.
Well, Zen Mitani did not leave it long before he made that move. Absolutely sensational stuff. It looked like Ogiwara did so well from the start, but when you're coming up against the class of a rider like Zen Mitani, he's going to take full advantage of any opportunity you give him. He's done just that at the first corner.
Here we go then into the infield. That's the number 12 of Ricky Henry running wide through turn 4, the fast left-hander at turn 4 before the infield section starts. Through turn 5 and 6 we go. The left-handers, then you flick it right through turn 7. Ojiwara showing a wheel up the inside, a difficult place to pass, but as we saw from the sprint, it's possible to pass through there though. But what they've got to do now, as Ojiwara is doing, is lock themselves onto the rear wheel of Mitani. They don't want to let the number 2